Hi HipKit friends, I am Sarah Millerhouse and I am excited to be back with you today to share a layout that I made using the December main kit. So this kit is full of beautiful colors and all kinds of great patterned papers. So I mostly used just one main patterned paper for this layout, and you can see here it's a diamond pattern, and I spent some time cutting out those diamonds, and then I am placing them on my background. I'm using a white mixed media or a solid white mixed media cardstock, and I am taking those diamonds and I'm kind of placing them around. I kind of wanted to go like in rainbow order, and then I ended up kind of going rogue from there. So I didn't end up fully with the rainbow order, but I do love the colors and patterns in this paper, and I thought it was perfect to scrapbook one or capture the memory of one more picture that I had found from our Polar Express adventure that we had as a family. So I thought I was finished with Christmas, and then I found this picture that I had been looking for and could not pass up the opportunity to use it. And this pattern paper is perfect because it has the flair of Christmas, but really more it's focused on winter, and so that was kind of fun for this layout. So I placed the diamonds down where I thought they wanted to go, where I thought I wanted them to go, and then I kind of moved them off to the side a little bit. I really just needed to know where I needed my mixed media to go, and so by placing the diamonds down but not adhering them down yet, it made it easy to go ahead and add that to the background. So what you see me using here is the pinkish reddish color. It's really pink. It kind of looks red here in the video, but it really is a beautiful pink. It's called, it's an Inklings called Naughty or Nice, and it was from the December color kit. And then I also used a Shimmers that is called Golden Wheat, and it was also from the December color kit. So those are the only two things from the color kit that I use on this layout, and everything else is from the main kit. So you'll see here I kind of did the mixed media around there in the middle where you see the white square. That's because that's where my photo is going to go. So I left a spot there, and you did see me trace around it. So I did a real light tracing with a pencil around where I knew I wanted the photo to go, just so it kind of helped guide where I wanted the color behind it to go. So in the finished layout, the color is not overwhelming. I do cover up a lot of it, but I liked it to be there to kind of act as a placeholder for my photo. So that was the purpose of it there. And then it does play off nicely with the colors and the patterned paper as well. So here, what I did is off camera, I didn't make you watch all of that because it was kind of boring. I adhered down all of those diamonds, and I did it, the top three, I popped up on craft foam. Then that next two, the yellow and the pink row, I just glued flat to the background. Then the next three, I popped up on craft foam, and vice versa. I kept going in that pattern. So a row that was popped up, then a row that was flat, a row that was popped up, just to kind of give it some visual interest with dimension. And then here you'll see I cut another piece of the pattern paper, this beautiful blue pattern paper that looks like snowflakes and almost like a bokeh effect. If you're familiar with photography terms, it almost looks like a bokeh effect of snow. So it's kind of like a blurry snow pattern on that beautiful patterned paper. So I am just using it to back the photo here. And then I am using a pretty thick craft foam to pop that up. I want it to sit higher than the diamonds on the background. So it definitely does sit higher, and I love that because it does help draw your eye in. I want the photo to be the main thing, even though sometimes I have to remind myself of that because I love patterned paper and embellishments. But I do have to remind myself that the reason I scrapbook is to capture those memories and the photos. So I want that photo to take center stage. And once I got the diamonds glued down and then the photo glued down, I noticed that I wanted just a couple of more patterns closer to the photo, just so it made it look like that pattern was continuous behind that photo. I didn't want it to stop and then the photo kind of be hanging out there on its own. So I just went and sort of trimmed behind it and placed some diamonds just around that photo there. It was pretty easy to do. Kind of eyeballed it and then cut off the pieces I didn't need so that it fit right around the photo nicely. And then I love, oh my gosh, this linen texture metal die that came, that you could order in December is fantastic. It's still available in the Hip Kit shop, and it's maybe my favorite metal die ever. So I haven't been into metal dies that long, but I think it's going to be one of my favorites forever because I absolutely love how it comes out. I love that it's like a lattice work almost that's kind of askew. It's not a perfect lines or perfect squares. I love that it is whimsical and fabulous, and it cuts really nicely with a die cutting machine. So it was very easy to do, and I love that it adds great texture. So, and it's called linen texture, so it is intended to help add that texture to your layouts. And I did it on the diagonal, so it is a square die, and I cut it diagonally corner to corner, and then placed it above and below my photo, really to mimic the diamonds that were in the patterned paper. So I love how that's kind of like a repeating pattern on the layout. And then you'll see that my mixed media also is kind of repeating that same pattern, a diamond pattern. Okay, so what I did here, if you've been watching while I've been talking, I did some fussy cutting from the patterned papers in the main kit. There are beautiful florals. So the florals on the top right of the photo and the bottom left are all from the same paper. And then the leaves that I'm cutting right now are on the B side of another pattern paper that had beautiful flowers on the front, white flowers. And on the back, it has great leaves. So a leaf pattern. So I cut out some leaves from the back, and I thought that the color of those leaves went nicely with the darker tones in my photo. So it kind of helped tie it all together. And then I played around with the flowers, and then where I wanted them to go, bent up the edges of the leaves and the petals and things. And then I'm adhering those down on several different layers because I love to add texture and dimension to the layout with fussy cut floral pieces. So one tip, if you've watched my videos, you've heard me say this before, I say it all the time. When you're adding flowers to a layout, it adds great texture and great visual interest if you will bend up your leaves. So I just pinch the ends of them together. Like I just pinch the end to make it kind of pointy at the ends. And then the petals I just curl up. So I use like a dry embossing tool, but you can just use a pencil or your finger, or sometimes I just use my fingers and bend those petals up, and it helps it look more like a real bouquet would look, and like florals. It's one of the things I love about going into a garden, all the colors and textures and patterns and the layered look of a beautiful garden. So I want my floral clusters to look that same way, and by bending up the leaves and the petals, it helps do that. So here I'm just trimming off the edges of the things that were sticking off to kind of clean up the layout before I go and start adding more to it. And you will see that I'm keeping all of my embellishments and like that die that I cut, that pattern, all of that I'm keeping really tight around the photo. That helps draw your eye into the photo, because like I said, I want my photo to take center stage. So by placing all of the things around that photo, I am keeping the focus there. So here with those floral clusters, so I did a whole lot of fussy cutting, and then now I'm going and I added some stickers. So there were some beautiful black and white floral stickers and leaves, like little floral clusters and leaf clusters. So I added those behind my floral clusters there. And now I'm pulling from the ephemera pack. I will say that those little snowflakes that I've kind of placed behind the floral cluster on the bottom left of the photo, those were snowflakes that I die cut on my last layout and just saved them and stuck them in that ephemera pack. So there is a beautiful snowflake die cut set as well that was released in December, and I created my last layout with that and had some of those left over. So I'm using a couple of the different dyes on this layout. And then this was a little tag from the ephemera set. And I am just popping it up on craft foam, added a little bit of embroidery thread, and added that to the top, and then a little half of a chipboard frame on top of that to kind of give it a little layered look. So I'm just going through the ephemera and pulling out a few more pieces. Usually I take out all the ephemera and lay it on my craft mat, but I didn't do that this time. I kind of knew what I wanted to pull out, so I was just looking for it. And then here, this title says Winter Activities, and I thought that was perfect for this winter excursion that we did. You see me kind of cutting around it in here with my craft knife. So some of the letters had a thicker white border in the middles, and I wanted the white border to sort of be uniform all the way around. So I went and just trimmed out some of the thicker white parts in the middles of those letters. You do not need to do that. It's an extra step that you don't really have to do. And probably the only person that notices that is me. So, it's one of those things that bothers me if I don't take care of it. So never be afraid to embellish your embellishments or tweak them a little bit to make them perfect for your layout. They're gorgeous as they come, and then sometimes tweaking them to fit your layout makes them even better. Okay, so here I'm adding a little sticker that was on that sticker sheet, and those are almost like little colorful bursts, like a banner of little, can't even think of what those are called, but you see them at parties all the time. So a super pretty little embellishment there. And then there was an ephemera piece of that same sort of pattern, and I'm cutting that in half as well and tucking that inside of that little chipboard frame that I have there on the right of the photo. So again, I'm just adding layer and layer after layer. So I love to have lots of little details and things to catch your eye, all tight in the same spot. My hope is that every time you look at one of my layouts, you notice something different. So I love that. Even I sometimes notice, oh, I forgot I did that, like when I'm looking at the details. So I love the small, tiny details. So this is one of those snowflakes that I said that I cut using the metal dies, also from the December release. They're beautiful. And then here, this sheet of alphas and almost like epoxy dots with their puffy dots came in the December main kit as well. There was lots of things in that December main kit, lots of fabulous things to choose from. So it was easy to make a beautiful layout with just things from that December main kit. And the stickers they've got great adhesive on them. But even with great adhesive, I find that over time, if you actually look through your layouts and mess with them and move around and all that stuff, things do come apart. So I'd like to add some wet adhesive just to make sure they're good and stuck down forever. And I used those little puffy stickers to go around and add some details around my clusters. Sorry, my head is in the photo there. And then I'm using some Nuvo drops from, I think both of those were from the November Extravaganza color kit. That was fabulous and full of all kinds of great things. So I'm just going around and adding some dots to the middles of those flowers that I had fussy cut, and around the clusters, tips of the snowflakes and all of that. So if you are fussy cutting something just out of like plain patterned paper, sometimes that can look kind of flat. And by adding some of those small little details to the centers of those flowers, it makes it just more beautiful and colorful. So there are some close-ups. So I bring the layout to the camera. And then here are some close-up still photos. And I hope you enjoyed this process and enjoyed watching me use all of those beautiful main kit embellishments and papers. And you can go ahead and tap the subscribe button to see all of the Hip Kit videos, and like it and comment. I'll answer any questions you have. Thanks, guys. Bye.